Hello everyone, my name's Emma Holbrook. I'm a drummer, percussionist and composer from the UK. I want to make a quick video today, well, however long it takes, quite frankly, about a few Cajon tips and basics. This isn't a how-to Cajon video right from the start. There are plenty of other people doing that on YouTube. This is a video which is designed to just help you make your sound go from to So if that translates at all to you, I hope it does. But it's just one or two things I've seen with the Cajon that people do again and again. And it's a shame because it sounds okay, but it could be sounding really good with just a few little tips and tricks. The first thing I'd really like to talk about is how we use our hands when we're just grooving out. One of the things I see is when people are playing Cajon, you usually see this kind of thing, like someone's all the way down here, flat palmed for the bass response. And then they're doing the kind of offbeat up here. You might see this kind of thing, like someone's like hunched over it and they're doing like a kind of So what's happening there? So firstly, you don't need to go this far down for the bass response. I think the sweet spot for the bass is about there. That's about 10 centimeters from the top. Yeah, you don't need to be going down here. You will end up playing down here, but that's for a very different thing. I like to play using this kind of shape with my hand. I'm not going to give it a fancy name. It's just a bit like, imagine like a crescent moon or a digger, maybe like that kind of thing. And I actually kind of can keep that quite solid when I'm playing. What that does is it creates an arc. If I put it on the side there, so it creates an arc and it's minimizing the contact with the Cajon. So therefore, we're not killing the sound as soon as we've made it. If we flat palm, it's just like smacking a cardboard box, isn't it? It's an awful sound. We want that sound to come up and out. So have a go at that kind of like crescent shape with your hand. That's for your right hand. If you're left-handed and you're doing the majority of the bass down there, obviously do it with the left hand. But that's one thing I really think you need to kind of start looking at. Get that shape there. You can hear the overtones coming out a bit more. Here's the difference. This is flat palm. Much nicer, isn't it? It's a smaller surface area that the force is going into. So that brings me on to my next thing, which is the way that we hit the Cajon. It's the same, in the same vein as I was talking about just then, about making the sound come out and fly away from the Cajon, yeah? You want to kind of like make the noise and then immediately release it, as it were. We don't want to trap it. Think about it a bit like a karate chop. I think we all know the way you do a karate chop. The force comes from the pull back, doesn't it? I think the same kind of thing applies with the Cajon. I think that's fair to say. If we go, even with the crescent-shaped hand thing, again, I'm not releasing the sound. It's better than, isn't it? But you can still hear the overtones being suppressed and there's no decay whatsoever. So that's the exaggerated movement, but it's like hit and away. Get that hand away. And obviously when you refine that, but it's like you're flicking your hand out. You want to avoid as much time on the surface of the drum with each hit. If you hang around, it's just going to kill the sound. So that's the thing, and that applies for the left as well. Yeah, so those are two things I think are so important. Crescent moon, karate chop, and yeah, just spend as little time actually on the surface of the drum as well. Almost like the drum is hot lava. But it's not really hot lava, it's just wood. Okay, so I've briefly covered a little bit about where we actually play the drum for the bass response. So about there, anywhere across there really. There's actually quite a lot of sounds we can make. And there's a... You can hear there's a slight variation as we approach the side, a bit like with the snare drum. It's going to be a bit deader right in the middle, and you're going to get a bit more ring towards the edges. So that's something to bear in mind. With the snares, I go really far to the corner, and I like playing in like that kind of area. Really right on the edges. I don't really do that much right at this point in the drum. I just prefer playing in this area as you get better resonance really, because it's closer to the edges. So again, using the same kind of approaches of not spending very much time on the drum, and also using the very end of your fingers, using that bone. We can see those, the underside of our knuckles. There's obviously 3 joins. I use that, well, I don't really advise playing on joints because joints are weak, but I play on like that fleshy bit right there. I try and avoid the rest of the fingers hitting the drum. So just make the surface area really small when you're playing your snare. Yeah, nice and light, nice and crisp. Don't make it heavy. So we talked about playing down here with the palm, didn't we? And how it's probably best not to use that as a bass response because it just sounds... It's like we're smacking a soggy cardboard box, isn't it? So yeah, best to avoid that thing. But how I do like playing, I sometimes create, and I've been talking about creating quite an open sound with a cajon. What I quite like to do sometimes, especially if you've got that you're playing a song and then the dynamics really go down, you've got like, I don't know, a quiet solo as a guitarist, acoustic guitarist picking away or something, and you just want to keep that pocket ticking away in the background. I sometimes like to just deaden the whole sound. So you rest, I'm right-handed, so you rest your palm there and you do that as a bass. You got your bass drum there. So that's an example of how you can use the closed sound in a really musical way. So yeah, think about the difference about how you can create an open full sound and a closed sound just by how much time you're spending on the cajon. There is another technique where the left hand just stays there, and that's just doing like finger rolls, doing ghost notes and filling in. And you're kind of like alternating between there and the snare for the bass response. So that's quite nice. I don't know, it just feels quite comfortable. It means the right hand's doing a lot of the work. So you're switching, You're switching from your crescent moon to the tips of the fingers right there. Again, using that whipping technique to get that nice crisp sound. My tips of my fingers are actually quite flat there as well. It's like that, it's a bit of a flick in the wrist. In terms of the cajon itself, like, don't have the tapper, I think it's called, the playing surface. Don't have the playing surface too tight because, again, that's just going to murder the sound. It is still a drum head, but if you do over tighten it, it's not going to let the drum sing. The drum head's got to vibrate. It moves the air around inside the drum, just like with any drum, and that's what makes the lovely rich noise, sound, music. So yeah. Okay, so thanks very much for watching. Again, just be musical, be dynamic, listen, stay on the pulse, and yeah, the rest will be fine. Good luck with your playing. Anyway, thanks very much. Bye.